All right. Good morning. I'm here with Rudy Ruckman and David Benaim. I'm so excited to see you. You've both just been freed from Nigeria. You captured on July 9th in the morning from synagogue, taken to DSS state prison. How does it feel to be back?
I mean, always when you come to Israel, it's all of a sudden that you can come and breathe. For me, when I'm out of Israel, it's like I'm holding my breath. And finally, I come to Israel and I can breathe again. But additional, on top of the usual experience when you're coming home, we just went through 3 weeks in a cage, locked up, for no reason. We did nothing wrong. We just came there to show the stories of the Jewish life in Nigeria, the Igbos. And although we weren't able to do our full project, we're still not going to stop, and we're still going to show their stories and showcase so that they get recognition and people understand who they are. But obviously, we're very tired and very happy to be back home.
Yeah, it's amazing to be home. It never felt that amazing to say that we are back home in Israel. For somebody that just met Aliyah a few years ago, it has a lot more sense. But we feel great. We are very thankful about all the people that really worked tirelessly to help us being back home today after 19 days of captivity, 20 days I think we would say for the full period. But yeah, it's amazing to be back home.
Why did you go to Nigeria first?
Yeah, so our first season is on Africa, and so we have 6 different countries across Africa, each with different and unique different stories. Nigeria is just the biggest story. It's just the most amazing community that's very different than the others. There are 50 million Igbos that they estimate, and it's just the biggest story, so that's the one that we wanted to start with first.
David, can you speak a little bit about what it took to release you?
It took a lot of effort from 3 different kind of chancelleries, embassies, French, American, and Israelis that were really in coordination. Each of them had their roles, and we can't discuss every single details. First of all, we have to learn all the details because we were kept secret from a lot of it during the time we were there because we had no means of communication most of the time. The families were really involved in back channels to be able to help us get out. Finally, kind of quickly when you look at similar stories, but we were helped with a lot of forces. One of the forces that I would like to mention particularly that was able to provide food for us and a lot of emuna, a lot of faith all the time is the Chabad of Nigeria. Israel Uzan was there from the 5th or the 6th day of captivity, helping us, bringing us food, helping us bring food as well to one of the women that was held captive with us. So yeah, it's pretty amazing to know that there is the regular diplomacy and there is the Chabad diplomacy. So that's pretty good.
Now, I understand that when you were taken by about a dozen men in ski masks. Yes, and now we have Noam. Thank you so much. You are the third person who was taken into custody by the DSS. Thank you for joining us on camera, first of all. How are you feeling, actually?
I'm feeling good. I'm happy to be back home in Israel, but it's also bittersweet because we really did want to continue our project and we really tried every possible way to stay in Nigeria right now and continue with the rest of our itinerary. But unfortunately, it wasn't possible now, but we're not giving up for the future.
So what I was asking is, you were taken into custody by about a dozen armed men in ski masks in the morning of Friday prayer. Did you know you were being arrested?
No, so they told us that we're being invited and that we'd have a quick conversation with the chief just to clear some things up. We had an idea that it had to do with certain posts that were going viral the night before, that we clearly made a statement that we had nothing to do with such movements, we had nothing to do with any sort of separatist things. And they told us we would go for a quick meeting, take 30 minutes, we'd come back to our hotel. In fact, all of our stuff was open in our hotel rooms. We ended up staying there the entire night, and then the next morning they wake us up from sleeping on the floor. They stuff us back with the black ski masks at gunpoint into cars, and they took us 9-hour drive to Abuja, a very dangerous drive, just swerving and speeding all over. And then we find ourselves 20 days locked up in a cage over there, and at no point were we actually even arrested. They didn't tell us they were accused of something, they didn't tell us you're officially arrested of something, and their status of invited is what allows them to not allow us to have a lawyer, not allow us to have a phone call, not allow us to have any rights because we're there at our own will. But several times we try to say, okay, so if we're here at our will, then let us go. And they said, no, if you go, then we'll stop you. And we tried a few times, and they, again, jumped on us and threw us back into the cage. There's actually one time that me and Noam put our tefillin on and just walked out to the lobby and started saying, we're innocent, let us out. We made a scene for all the people there, even civilians that were walking into their headquarters, and 10 people came on us, threw us back into the elevator, and threw us back into the cage. So we really tried to do everything to get out, but I didn't have my phone the whole time. I didn't have a phone call the whole time. I didn't speak to my family. I didn't speak to anybody. So, the first 5 days were the hardest because we didn't even know if people knew about us. We didn't even know if people knew we were gone. We didn't know what was going on. It was just one moment where we're there with the community. The night before, we were really like having a sort of meeting with everyone. We're talking or going up like late and discussing, and then the next morning all of a sudden we find ourselves in prison.
So I want to know, you mentioned Chabad, David. Do you have any other maybe special words to say to the services that they provided you? Andrew, Noam, I want to hear from you a little bit more as well.
Sure. So our initial hope when we were in the dark, not knowing if anybody knew what had happened to us, was that reaching out to Chabad was going to be our only way of letting them know that we were actually being detained, and then that the word could spread that way. So, we were adamant that we really were not going to eat anything other than, some bread that they gave us for the first 5 days until we got kosher food. And I think that had a big role in, keeping our morale up and making this all worth something in the end.
So, what's next for We Were Never Lost, I should say, because I understand that even though your visa has not expired, you're not returning to Nigeria anytime soon.
Yeah, we still hope to at some point go back to Nigeria. We understand that right now, due to the circumstances, maybe with this regime we won't be able to, but we do have a decent amount of footage. We can still tell a story. There are Igbos here in Israel that we can document. There are other ways of getting the story out. And the point is not just to make a film. The film's point is to get this story out for people to recognize and for their stories to be told. So there are many ways of doing that. We're going to find the way, and there are other countries we still need to go to in Africa to finish the season, and we're going to be doing that.
And We Were Never Lost is not a one-trip story. It's 6 episodes each season for a different continent every time. So we really are going to do Africa, finish all the different countries we want to visit in Africa, discover all these communities that are lost to our consciousness, and then we are going to go to Asia, South America, Europe, and the Middle East. And so we are going to make We Were Never Lost something that's very important for the Jewish people and for the world to know about the Jewish people all around the world.
So, if we can continue, if you don't mind, I'd love to know, I want to get into a little bit more depth. First of all, you mentioned that your treatment was inhumane. We heard rumor that one of you was injured and needed... Yes.
We were not captured in the synagogue.
Oh, not in the synagogue.
We're getting ready from our hotel room, and they just said, you have to come downstairs. There's police downstairs. So we were just getting our stuff ready. Our bags weren't even yet closed. We go downstairs, and all these men with guns, actually, it's ironic, they had tavors, Israeli guns, and they had black ski masks, and their chief, who was named Casey, comes and says, don't worry, everything's good, you're invited, you're not arrested, you're just coming for a quick little interview, and everything's going to be done within 30 minutes. And, for us, we didn't want to cause any problems, so we went, and, we found ourselves for 20 days locked up.
I want to add quick that, when we initially were taken in, we were very calm because we understood that there was a miscommunication that happened. And coming from Israel, we can understand if a country is going to take their national security seriously. But we figured once we go in, explain our story, show them our footage, it's going to be cleared up very quickly. And that's when we didn't get any information. They just continued to hold us there. After the investigation finished, we were just continually held with no reason, with no understanding of what was going on.
So I understand that one of you was actually let go. I believe it was you for medical treatment on condition that you be returned.
Yeah, and I was returned many times. So I was taken under the custody of the French embassy, locked for a few days, but I had to go back many times for interrogations. And every time I had to go back to the DSS headquarters, my heart was beating very hard, and I had no idea if I was going to be held again, if I was able to see the boys. It was every single time a very, very emotional and strong moment to return to this facility. It is a prison. It is jail. It's something where you know that you won't have access to diplomacy, to people. So returning there was always an exercise that's I don't wish anyone.
May I ask what constituted their version of I guess their treatment and their interrogation? What were they looking for? What were they asking?
Well, the thing is, there's a movement in Nigeria trying to free the South. That's what they call it. They call it Biafra. There was actually a civil war back in the 60s, and they failed. And so, a large portion of the Nigerian population are called Igbos. And prior to the British, they were actually separate. They were their own people, and the British kind of united different ethnic groups and created a country called Nigeria. Now, there are different movements within Nigeria trying to separate and create their own autonomous regions. And these Igbos, a lot of them identify as being Jewish, and there is a state for the Jewish people. It's Israel. So some of those people also wave Israel flags, and when they do certain protests and talk about freeing their country and their land, which again we have nothing to do with, they associate that to Israel. So all of a sudden you have Israelis coming saying that they want to do a documentary on the Igbos. For us, it was documenting Jewish life experiences, culture, aspirations.